Now, just so you know, I don't know. The WhatsApp thing froze on me. You haven't moved for the last like 2 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing. I'm looking at my little picture there, and I am frozen. But you can still hear me, can't you?
Okay.
Yeah,
I can. Yeah. So I just want to make sure. I didn't want to make sure I was talking.
My face isn't doing anything terribly interesting anyway. So I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. That's quite a good little pose that I've got. got there. At least I wasn't stuck in some sort of grimace.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but so it was a good concert, Perry. I had a really good time. There was this moment at the end of the concert where we were all leaving, and both of us are blasted of our minds because we both ate 2 hits of acid, and I hadn't done psychedelics in a long time, and I don't think he had either. And we were leaving the concert, and we could hear all these balloons whizzing and popping, and we were like, "What is going on?" And as we started walking towards the sound, we realized someone had showed up with a very large, like dentist style can of nitrous oxide, and was filling balloons with nitrous oxide and selling like 3 or 4 balloons for $20. Right. And
oh wow!
And these balloons were huge. And I don't know if you've ever experienced with nitrous oxide, but I've done it a few times.
None at all.
No. So I've done it recreationally a handful of times, and when you do it on psychedelics, it's an experience like nothing else. But these balloons they were filling were so big that like it was probably like 5 or 6 doses, and people were grabbing like these handfuls of them, and there was all these people just huffing these balloons on the sidewalk as people are walking out.
Oh no!
Yeah, and they're laughing and falling over, and people are stealing balloons from each other and popping them with cigarettes, and it was messed up. I couldn't believe how and people were just like scattering everywhere, and we lost each other.
Oh wow!
I was like, yeah, and I have a feeling that my buddy Adam went and took some balloons. That's why I couldn't find him, because my microphone in my pocket was still going.
Right.
So you can hear me run like for 10 minutes, just running around screaming his name at the top of my voice, and I found some weirdos I saw earlier that night. Because every time I saw a weirdo, I would say to them, I just point at them and say something stupid like "perfect primectifer," like mix all the bands together, and they would look at me and go, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I'm like, "Look at you, you're a fucking weirdo. You don't belong here." And so the first group of people I did that to, we kept running into them. They ended up being at the same hotel. We kept bumping into the hotel to the point where they thought we were following them around. Well, they caught up with me, and they were like, "Are you all right, man?" And I'm like, "I'm looking for my buddy." And they're like, "Good luck," and I was like, "Can you help me find him?" And they're like, No, we're not going to help you. We don't give a shit." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Can I follow you guys back to the hotel?" And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And I followed them for a bit, and they ended up being like heartless. Like they were kind of being dicks. And I remember thinking like, I thought you guys would be cool people, but they weren't. And I just lost my buddy. And I just went back to the hotel because I didn't know where to. I want to wander around Boston, and I didn't know where I was. And I was having a really hard time operating my phone because this thing happens when you're on psychedelics, as you know, like you hallucinate kind of like things, like my phone, like, phones are widescreen. My phone looked like it was perfectly square.
Right.
And I was trying to like navigate Google Maps and nothing was making sense. So I just kept following these weirdos back to the hotel. And I'm calling them weirdos. I'm the one who can't see my phone. I'm tripping on acid. But
this movie script that we're assembling here is just getting better and better. This is exactly like I say, all we need is a great ending, and we've got something here.
Well, maybe there will be one. So I followed these guys back to the hotel, and they went inside, and I stood outside. When I'm having a special occasion like this, I buy myself a pack of cigarettes. So I had a pack of Marlboros. So I stood outside and smoked the Marlboro, and then I went inside. And if you don't know what Marlboros are, that's like the premier American cigarette.
Oh yeah. Like Marlboro Man and all that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was something that was translated across.
We have them here too. We have them here too.
Oh, cool. Right on. So yeah, we were up. I smoked my Marlboro. I go back into the hotel, and I tried to call him a few times. He's not answering his phone. And I was like, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do? Like, is he dead? Is he like, is he bleeding out in the sidewalk somewhere, like tripping on nitrous oxide? I got no idea." So I remember I laid there on the hotel bed, and I just got really sick. Like I was like thinking about Mackenzie, and I'm thinking like, "Oh man, I hope I can get some sleep. I got to drive like 10 hours tomorrow morning, or 12 hours, or whatever long it's gonna take me to get home." And I started panicking about like not seeing my baby ever again, and me having to like find my dead friend somewhere in Boston. And
it's all going horribly wrong.
Yeah, So I remember we bought some whiskey and some cider earlier that night, so I had a shot of whiskey, and that didn't help. And I had no water left, and there's no bathroom in our room, so there's no drinkable water within arm's reach. I didn't want to go to the bathroom to find some water, so I just got really sick, and I started puking into the there we are. You're moving. I started puking into the yeah. So I picked up the garbage can. I started puking in this garbage can, and I'd eaten a turkey sandwich earlier.
When you say you started to get sick, this is like a physically you're feeling. So what's caused that then? Why is that happening?
Well, that's part of the LSD superpower, right? Like anxiety can make you physically ill.
I don't like that superpower. That sounds like a horrible superpower to have. That is a really bad superhero there. Sick man.
It is. Well, it's a yin and yang, right? Like so a moment of excitement can turn you into a Superman, and a moment of distress can turn you into a sick man.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like, just for not to digress further, but one of my closest human beings in my life is my cousin Daryl, and he died in a motorcycle accident back in 2017.
Oh wow!
And I was at a Carlos Santana concert, which also one of the most religious experiences I've ever had was at a Carlos Santana concert. I recommend it to anybody. It's amazing. But we were at a Carlos Santana concert. My mom and dad were there. My buddy Drew, Drew's mom, or I think just his dad was there. A couple of my other buddies. Like, it was a good group of friends. And we had this amazing concert. It was like undescribably amazing. We were outside standing in this light rain, and the parking lot was a mess. So I just opened the windows to my car, and I put on a Beach Boys album. And we listened to Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys.
All right.
Standing around the parking lot, just going like, this is fucking beautiful. And then just as we're leaving, my mom gets back into the car with her and my dad, and her phone's been blowing up with people calling her to let her know my cousin. I'm gonna cry a little bit, but let her know my cousin Daryl had died. And shit. And I have a rule, like when I'm on LSD, unless I'm lost in Boston or something, I don't look at my phone. Right? You don't, because of that emotional attachment you have. If you're not prepared to deal with something that you're not prepared to deal with, don't open that box. Yeah. But my mom, she doesn't understand that, and she opened the box, and both our phones had the same message on it, but I wasn't looking at my phone. And she came back, like, she opened the window and said, like, your cousin Daryl just died. Ugh. And I started like hyperventilating. I had a panic attack. Like, I didn't know what panic attacks were.
Yeah.
So I'm having a panic attack while I'm tripping out in the rain.
Wow.
And yeah, and I couldn't function. Like, for the next, that night we got home, because it's a long trip from where we were to where my house was. I got home, and I remember I listened to Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1, because that was the album my cousin Daryl got me into.
Yeah.
The first musical connection we ever had was Guns N' Roses. And I remember listening to that album, and I wrote a song that night. I'll share it with you after, actually. I was trying to send you the link. I wrote a song just called The Song for Daryl.
Uh-huh.
And Daryl means a lot to me, because Daryl's my older brother in my mind. He was, out of all the cousins I had in my whole family, on both sides of my family, he was the only one older than me, and so I looked up to him the way you would look up to an older brother. And I always thought he was so cool. He used to drive motorcycles, and he skateboarded. He was in a band. Like, I was in a band because he was in a band. I picked up a guitar because he played guitar,
Right.
And a lot of my identity revolves around him, and so that was like, it was like having like the rug pulled out from under me. So yeah, that was a terrible sickness that I experienced because of stress. So this was nothing like that. The Boston puking in a garbage can was small potatoes.
That's nothing compared with the trauma you previously experienced. I get it. Yeah. That's terrible though. Yeah.
So, but my wife, because she's a wonderful mother nowadays, she made me a bunch of sandwiches and salad and stuff to take. So I'd eaten all these turkey sandwiches before, like, because it was right after Easter, so we had all this fresh turkey.
Right.
So I was eating these beautiful turkey sandwiches. So I hadn't had anything to drink, so I'm vomiting just like turkey sandwiches, and they're all stuck in my nose.
Oh,
and like,
no.
And I got nothing to drink, nothing to. All I have to wash it down with is bourbon. So I'm like.
Well, that makes perfect sense, I suppose.
Yeah, so I'm just laying there on the bed with this. My whole head feels like it's full of like actual acid, right? Like just melting away with like stomach acid.
Oh God.
And I remember just like losing it. And then I grabbed my phone and I put on a recording of Maynard talking about Easter, because Easter had just passed, and it was the day after Easter. And Maynard has this beautiful story about egg hunting and the true reason that we teach children to search for eggs at Easter. It's not about candy. It's about teaching kids how to survive after a long winter and finding some real food after the snow's melted, right. And it was grounding me. It was bringing me to this real nice spiritual place. And right after the story was over, Adam called me and he was like, "Where the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at the hotel, you asshole." And I'm like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm in front of Panera Bread." And I'm like, "Okay, what the fuck is Panera Bread?" He's like, "I don't know." So I was like, "Well, I know where I am. So, and you know where this is. So how about you head towards the hotel and we'll continue this party." And I found just outside of a room, they had a spigot that's dispensed filtered water. So I went and got a carafe full of water, freshened myself up a bit, went to the bathroom. And just as we were trying to decide, what do you want to do? It's midnight. We're in Boston. We're still tripping out. We're in this beautiful city. Like, what are we going to do? And so we don't know. So we drink a cider. We get a couple joints ready to go outside and smoke some weed to elevate our psychedelic experience, Yeah. And I open the door, and there's one of these guys wearing like a Jerry Garcia tie-dye sweatshirt. Mm-hmm. Standing in the hallway. One of the guys I saw huffing balloons outside the concert. He's next door to us. And I said, so I opened up the door, and I think I was eating some baby food too. I threw some baby food because I love baby food. I've been eating a lot of baby food. So I had some.
This film is going to be so amazing, man.
So
all these little details.
There we go.
Yeah, great.
So I opened the door, and this guy, I got this like bottle or this like squeeze tube of baby food I'm squeezing into my mouth, and I'm just.
I'm sorry.
And it's all right.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So I look at this guy. I go, "What the fuck are you doing here, you fucking weirdo? Keep it down." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Look at you, you Jerry Garcia motherfucker. What are you doing here?" And he goes, "I was trying to get some pizza, sir." And I said, "You got pizza? I'll trade you some baby food for some pizza." And he's like, and so he calls his buddy. His buddy's in the room. He's like, "Get out here. Some guy's got baby food. He wants some pizza for some baby food." And this guy, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And they're all so confused, right? And so I said to them, like, "You guys," so I made up some other band name again, like, "You guys must be from that Perfect, Primectifer thing." And they're like, "How'd you know, man?" I'm like, "Look at you. You're fucking Jerry Garcia, and your buddy looks like Steve-O. And you guys can barely stand up. Look like you've been huffing balloons all night." And the guy's like, "I have been huffing balloons." So they thought I was some sort of magical wizard. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we went outside and we smoked some joints and talked about music and magic mushrooms and all sorts of stuff. And it was we had a great chat with these guys. And it was a wonderful introduction, but I find it weird how these people are so oblivious of how they appear to everybody around them, but they would be so shocked that I know where they are or where they've been.
Yes.
Because I don't dress like that anymore so much, right? Like I was wearing like a button-up shirt with a collar and like black pants. Like I look like I went to a theater, right? Right? And these guys both look like they're at a Grateful Dead concert, right?
Right.
But and they don't know. Like they have, like I'm the one tripping out. These guys have just been drinking and smoking weed and doing balloons, right? So I'm more into space than they are. But we
oh dear.
Yeah, and we went out in the park outside, not the parking lot, but in the front, like there's just like a sidewalk at the front of the hotel, and we stood there for a couple of hours just smoking and watching other people go by and interacting and just watching chaos erupt. Like angry girlfriends who can't find their boyfriends, and it was strange. And then we left those guys. I remember it was about 3 a.m. We're like, "Okay, guys, we're hungry, so." I don't think we never end up trading pizza at this point yet, so I'd eaten some baby food, and I puked everything else up earlier. So I was like, we should get something to eat. So the only place that's open within an hour walk is this like a Syrian restaurant like down by the water.
All right.
So we walked down there. These guys don't even speak English at this restaurant, or if they do, they're not listening to us or caring. So we're having to point at the menu, and I managed to order a couple. I thought I was getting shawarma, but we ordered a couple gyros. Or a gyro. I'm not sure how you actually pronounce a gyro. Americans call them gyros, but
Gyros?
you know the lamb.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
lamb and tzatziki sauce.
Right.
I know you're not much of a foodie, so maybe you're like, whatever, fucking meat
Yeah, I'm
tornado.
just like, yeah, okay, food. It was food. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're eating, like, we're standing on we're sitting on this, like, closed bus stop at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning, eating these big, beautiful tzatziki sauce-filled, you know, lamb pitas. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these squirrels and chipmunks playing around on the road. I'm like, man, this is beautiful. I've never, like, you know, like, this is such a nice thing. And my buddy's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, all the squirrels and the chipmunks. He's like, those are fucking rats, man. And
Oh, Jesus.
and I was like, rats? I was like, you're right. We're in the middle of a city. Like, there's not gonna be squirrels and chipmunks playing around, because that's what I see at my house, the squirrels and chipmunks, right? I don't see
Right.
rats. So I remember thinking, like, oh, that's weird. And it's funny how quickly it goes from seeming majestic to being like, that's gross, you know, because like it's
Wow.
a different kind of rodent,
Yeah. Wow.
you know. And yeah, so I mean, that's around when he was like, I'm getting tired, and we wandered back to the hotel, and he fell asleep almost immediately, and then I laid there and meditated for like the next 4 hours, trying my best to sort of like I knew I wasn't going to sleep because I wasn't anywhere close to being able to sleep. So I was meditating to these tapes from like the 70s about finding focus and becoming
right.
in tune with these waves,
Right.
you know, and like I was achieving levels of meditation I'd never achieved before, which was nice. And I haven't really had the opportunity to go back there just because I'm so damn busy. But I got to find time. I got to try and carve out more time for meditation. But it was a beautiful night. I drank a whole bunch more water and some more baby food, and the next morning, those guys still had some pizza left over, so they came over. They're like, "We've never got that pizza to you," and they gave us a couple cold slices of pizza.
That was good then.
Yeah, it was.